Air India Flight 182 was an Air India flight operating on the Montreal-London Delhi route. On 23 June 1985, it was operated using Boeing 747-237B registered under VTEFO. It is triggered in a media en route from Montreal to London at an altitude of 31,000 feet, 9,400 meters over the Atlantic Ocean. As a result of explosion from bomb planted by Canadian Sikh extremists known as commonly as Khalistanis, who were involved in Khalistan movements. The remnants of airlines fell into the ocean approximately 120 miles, 990 kilometers west-southwest of southwest tip of Ireland, killing all aboard 329 people, including 268 Canadian citizens, 27 British citizens, and 24 Indian citizens. The bombing of Air India Flight 182 is the largest mass killing in Canadian history, the deadliest aviation incident in the history of Air India, and was the deadliest act of aviation terrorism until the September 11 attacks in 2001. The Babar Khalsa terror groups was implicated in the bombings. The bombing of this flight coincided with the Narita airport bombing. Investigators believe the two plots were linked.
Hi, my name is Wendy and I'm holding my card number DCCA 181105. And right now I'm going to summarize a short story based on our case study about bomb explosion of Air India Flight 182. So Air India Flight 182 is on a stopover on its way to London Heathrow Airport. And after London, the flight will continue to Delhi and then on to Mumbai, India. The flight had originated in Toronto as Flight 182. In command is Captain Haseh Singh Narendra, and the co-pilot was Captain Sawinder Singh Binder. The aircraft is a 7-year-old Boeing 747-237B registered as VTEFO. After 5 hours and 45 minutes later, the flight is cruising above the Atlantic Ocean at a height of 31,000 feet, and the flight is just 45 minutes away from London, and the flight is flying in Irish airspace. And all of 329 people on board died in the crash, including all the crew members on board. The cause of the crash was not immediately known, but the airline officials suspected Sikh extremists of planting a bomb on the aircraft. 5 months after the disaster, 2 suspects were arrested. Canadian police believe that one of the suspects is called Talwinder Singh Parmar, had masterminded the attack. And another suspect was named Inderjit Singh Rayat here. As you know, Rayat, this guy, he was previously had been sentenced to 10 years in prison for helping to build a bomb that killed 2 baggage handlers at Japan Narita's airport on the same day as the Flight 182 disaster. So those are the summary of the story of the incident, and I'm going next to our next member.
My name is Ashraf Daniel and I'll be presenting the impact of the incident. As you all know, the incident killed all 329 passengers on board, with most of them are Canadians. Since then, 35 years later, the incident of Air India is still the worst terrorist attack in the history of Canada. Since then, the government of Canada has been working on the case to investigate the crash of Flight 182, to bring justice to this act and make necessary changes to the policy and regulations to protect Canadians from the terror.
Next, I will explain about the causes of the incident. Flight 182 was en route from Toronto to London, continuing to Mumbai. After a routine stop in Montreal, where Canadian officials removed 3 suspicious packages from the aircraft, the flight departed to London as scheduled and established communication with Heathrow Airport's tower. But just 45 minutes from its destination, the jet disintegrated in mid-air. No warning or emergency call were issued. As the plane disappeared from radar screens, Heathrow staff dispatched emergency rescue crews, but no survivors were found. Only 131 bodies were retrieved from the sea. The cause of the crash was not immediately known, but airline officials suspected Sikh extremists of planting a bomb on the aircraft. In the early 1890s, India was embroiled in violent civil unrest between Sikh and Hindu factions. The subsequent investigation and prosecution lasted almost 20 years. This was the most expensive trial in Canadian history, costing nearly $130 million.
My name is Harish Verman and my matrix number is D-Form 2004. And my point is the conclusion. There are almost 329 passengers have been killed in that incident, and it was on the June 23, 1985. So the route of the airline was, the flight planning was from the Toronto to London and from there to the Mumbai. So after the routine stopped at the Morocco, the Canadian officers have removed the 3 suspicious baggage in the aircraft. Soon later, after the Canadian police suspected the 3 packages and removed it, the aircraft continues its journey to the London. And soon later, the aircraft, I think about 45 minutes, it went out of connection with the radar. Soon later, they sent their rescue team and tried to search for the flight. And as we know, after quite some time, they found the flight and they found the causes of the flight, that is caused because of a bomb, sabotage, explosion, and so what is my opinion to avoid this kind of act is, flight is one of the place where all the passengers, all the humans will get an opportunity to fly to a place, to another place. But if we have no safety in it, it might cause huge unbelief feelings with the audience, the passengers, to fly into the aircraft. So in future, I hope that there would have more. I think by now the incident was happened in 2000s and in 1980s, but I think by now that our rules and regulation regarding the safety and security in the aviation industry has become more tuned and more accurate. So hope so we will have more safer flights and safety purposes during the flight, and no more any threats like bomb threats, and hope so that the airport security system will be more stricter, so there will not be any kind of unwanted equipments to pass through the safety and the security procedures.